Let me show you how I went about making a rustic style headboard. A few years ago, a friend of mine had her fence blow down and she came to me and said, "Hey, I got all this rustic cedar and I think it'd make a great headboard for my son. Can you tackle that project?" And since I was actually already building a headboard at the time, it was definitely in my wheelhouse, and I said, "Yeah, bring it on over. Let me see what I can do." I originally put these videos out on Instagram and my stories, and then I realized that was the only place I ever put them. And although you can still view them on my Instagram page under story highlights, I decided to put them all together here in one big video. This was a fun and easy project. Make sure to watch to the end so that you can see how it turned out and let me know what you think.
Moving on to this next headboard, the rustic one, rustic cedar. So I have trimmed down these boards. I picked the best of them and I have trimmed them all down so that they're the proper length, and I'm going to join them all together, and that's going to be kind of the first step here. So this is about what it's going to look like, and I'm going to take these boards. I'm actually going to paint them black. I'm going to mount them to the back so that all this is kind of bound together, but I'm going to paint them black so they don't show up this raw wood color, and I think it's going to turn out okay. I got a pretty cool idea coming up for this a little bit later. I'm gonna mount some lights, some like sconces on the top of this, and I'm gonna have to fabricate a little bracket for those out of this same weathered cedar. So we'll see if I can get to that today. Let's get after it. These are old cedar fence pickets. They've been out in the yard for a long time, and it's pretty rough stuff. It's got algae growing on it. We got dirt on it everywhere. So I'm gonna take a good stiff bristle brush here and just brush it off and clean it off real good before I get too deep into this project. All right, so that's all I've got time to do today. But as you can see, both headboards are essentially put together. They're assembled. The white one, I'm going to paint this one solid white, and this one here, I still got to build the light brackets for it, and then I'm going to coat it with some polyurethane at some point down the line. But that's all for today. For the finish coat on this rustic headboard, I'm going to be using, or at least I'm going to attempt to use, this water-based polyurethane. I've never used this product before, but it seems like it's a lot easier to deal with, a lot easier to clean up, and it's not like I'm looking for any fancy finish. I mean, this is supposed to be rustic anyway, so we'll see how it goes. But it's always a good idea to test your finish coat on a piece of scrap. So I have a piece of leftover wood that I cut off and I cleaned it up, and I'm going to use my zebra chiseled wedge to put a little bit of this finish coat on there and see how I like it. And I'm really liking the way that it turned out. It's got a little bit of a shine to it, but I got satin, so it's not too shiny. Gives it a little bit of a durable finish. That's exactly what I was looking for. It cleans it up nice, so it's gonna work out great. It's already hot as blazes out here in the garage, but I got a little bit of work to do before I can start applying that poly to that rustic headboard. So I'm gonna get started. Okay, so the rustic headboard is finished, all except for lights. Now I got these kind of hanging style bulbs. They're gonna hang off the little brackets that I put on earlier, and they're gonna have an Edison bulb in them. Everything's ready to go, so let's get it done.
So there you have it. The Rustic headboard is done. Got the lights put on. The switches are down at the bottom near the plug, so they're gonna be kind of hard to access. I didn't like that, so I wanted to change it and do something better. I got this outlet splitter here with a remote. Now instead of leaning down and trying to find the switches, just grab the remote. There you go.
On the DIY agenda this week, the Rustic headboard. I made it, but I never went and installed it. So I'm gonna wrap it up here in some moving blankets and make sure it's nice and secure, load it in my truck, and take it over to my friend's house and put it on her son's wall. Let's get started.